The key is to surround yourself with people who uplift you and bring out the best in you. False relationships can be difficult to identify, much like mistaking a mirage for an oasis in the vast desert of human interaction. In a world filled with meetings and mismatches, where people skillfully wear masks of politeness and self-interest, recognizing who truly cares for us is an art that requires not only intuition, but also a sharp eye. Often, we place too much faith in the goodness and intentions of others, when in reality, we are simply being used. Just like a skilled gardener knows how to differentiate between plants that nourish and those that drain the soil's nutrients, we too must learn to identify true allies in our lives. However, we must also be aware of those who act as emotional parasites. In this video, we will discuss the subtle signs and less obvious patterns that reveal the hidden motives behind forced smiles and empty promises. If you are here, it's because you're interested in personal growth. In this content, we'll explore the wisdom of unraveling these human mysteries, lighting the way to more genuine and fulfilling relationships. Before we begin, I ask that you watch this video until the end, as every part of the content is important. Stay strong and focused. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Number 15. The failure to keep promises. This behavior can be compared to a theatrical performance where words take center stage while actions are left out of the script. These people have perfected the art of verbal persuasion, painting elaborate pictures of commitment and support. Yet their words often lack the follow-through of real action. They craft expectations like a skilled artist, but when it's time to bring those painted promises to life, they fall short, exposing the hollowness behind their words. In relationships like these, a predictable pattern arises. When their help is most crucial and their promises are due, they often disappear, leaving behind disappointment and disillusionment. Their absence in moments of need is not only a breach of trust, but also a revealing sign of their true intentions. Their promises serve as tools for manipulation, aimed at gaining something, whether trust, support, or resources, without any real plan to give back. Failing to fulfill promises becomes a key indicator of a person's character. It separates those who value relationships as a balanced exchange of respect and support from those who see them as a one-sided opportunity for personal gain. For those who have been let down, the experience can be painful, but enlightening. It teaches the important lesson that not all promises are made with honesty and integrity. Thus, recognizing the failure to keep promises is essential in understanding and identifying those who may seek to exploit others. It's a behavior that speaks louder than the most well-crafted words, revealing a person's true character and intentions. By recognizing this pattern, one can better navigate the complex landscape of human relationships with a sharper awareness, protecting both their trust and emotional investment. Number 14. Diminishing or disdainful comments. People who regularly use others for their personal gain are skilled at making demeaning remarks to gradually chip away at their target's self-esteem, confidence, and sense of self-worth. These comments, often disguised as humor or casual conversation, are actually sharp hooks intended to bring others down rather than lift them up. They may belittle your achievements, mock your goals, or show disinterest in your struggles and challenges. This behavior is comparable to a subtle form of psychological warfare. By consistently undermining your accomplishments and ambitions, such individuals create an imbalance in the relationship. It's a calculated tactic to keep you in a state of self-doubt and low self-worth, making you more vulnerable to their manipulation and control. To them, your lowered self-esteem boosts their own status, solidifying their position of dominance in the relationship. Additionally, these disdainful remarks often reflect their own insecurities and feelings of inadequacy. By putting others down, they attempt to hide their own weaknesses and project an image of superiority. This behavior is a clear indicator of their inability to engage in healthy, supportive, and balanced relationships. Recognizing and understanding this behavior is essential. It allows you to see through the false charm that these individuals may present and to comprehend the toxic dynamics beneath the surface. It also serves as a sign to either confront the behavior and set boundaries, or to distance yourself from such a toxic environment. Number 13. Unilateral benefit. This can appear in different areas of a relationship, whether financial, emotional, or practical. Financially, the user may often borrow money or resources with promises of repayment or reciprocity that never materialize. Emotionally, they might rely heavily on the other for support, validation, and attention, yet offer little to nothing in return when the situation is reversed. Practically, they may consistently seek favors, assistance, or time, yet are notably absent or too busy when their partner needs help. This one-sidedness resembles a parasitic relationship in nature, where one organism benefits at the expense of the other. The user, like a parasite, draws nourishment, in this case emotional, financial, or practical support, without equally or adequately contributing to the well-being of their host. Over time, this lack of reciprocity drains the giver's emotional, financial, or time resources, leaving them feeling depleted and unfulfilled. The motives behind this unilateral benefit often stem from self-centeredness and a lack of empathy. The user views relationships as transactional, measuring interactions by what they can gain rather than what they can contribute. This flawed approach neglects the true value of mutual respect, support, and reciprocity. Recognizing this pattern requires a sharp eye. It involves identifying the ongoing lack of reciprocity and the sense of always being shortchanged in the relationship. It calls for a candid evaluation of whether the interactions make you feel valued and respected, or used and undervalued. Number 12. Disregard for your needs or feelings. This pattern of behavior, where your emotional landscape is consistently overlooked or devalued, resembles tending a garden that allows only one flower to flourish while neglecting the others. In such interactions, your needs and desires are deprioritized, while those of the other person take center stage. Their words and actions act as the shears that trim away at your emotional well-being, leaving you feeling undervalued and invisible within the relationship. This disregard can take many forms. It may be apparent in how they routinely ignore your emotional needs, failing to offer support or understanding when you are vulnerable. It can manifest as indifference to your opinions and choices, drowning out your voice with their dominant narrative. They might neglect to acknowledge your achievements, or worse, downplay your struggles, making light of issues that weigh heavily on you. Such behavior is not simply thoughtless, it is a deliberate neglect, a tactic used to maintain control in the relationship. By invalidating your feelings and needs, they create an environment that undermines your self-worth, making you more vulnerable to their influence. This represents a form of emotional manipulation that is subtly executed, but has a profound impact. This dynamic is especially harmful because it attacks the core of your emotional well-being. The fundamental need to be heard, understood, and valued is essential. When these needs are consistently ignored, it can lead to a decline in self-esteem and a sense of isolation, even within an active relationship. To navigate these turbulent waters, it is crucial to recognize the signs of emotional neglect. This awareness acts as a guiding light, helping you avoid relationships where your emotional well-being is at risk. It empowers you to seek connections built on reciprocity, respect, and mutual care. Number 11. Emotional manipulation. Emotional manipulation often begins subtly, with the manipulator portraying themselves as caring and attentive. However, this facade quickly transforms into a means of instilling feelings of anxiety, inadequacy, or guilt in their target. They become skilled at pressing emotional buttons, offering praise to lift you when it serves their interests, then sharply criticizing or undermining you to foster self-doubt and dependency. Think of the analogy of a gardener and a fragile plant. A nurturing gardener provides just the right amount of water and sunlight. In contrast, an emotional manipulator, much like a negligent gardener, alternates between overwatering and allowing the plant to suffer from drought. They exploit emotional extremes to destabilize, creating a situation where the target becomes emotionally reliant, perpetually seeking the manipulator's approval and validation to restore that initial warmth. This form of manipulation often attacks the very foundation of one's emotional well-being. They may downplay your successes or exaggerate your failures to keep you in a constant state of self-doubt. They might distort situations to instill guilt for normal behaviors, shifting blame to ensure that you are always the one apologizing. In relationships marked by emotional manipulation, the power balance is consistently uneven. The manipulator controls the dynamic, determining when to show affection and when to withdraw it, keeping their target disoriented. This dynamic is not focused on mutual growth or support. It prioritizes the manipulator's needs at the expense of the other person's emotional health. Recognizing emotional manipulation requires a sharp awareness of these patterns. It involves identifying the recurring behaviors where your feelings are routinely manipulated. It calls for self-reflection to comprehend how these interactions impact your sense of self and emotional health. Number 10. Lack of genuine support. Imagine a tree in a sprawling forest. Ideally, it receives support from the surrounding trees and undergrowth, benefiting from nutrients, shelter, and the companionship of a vibrant ecosystem. Now picture a tree standing alone in a barren landscape, devoid of any flora to provide support or protection. This situation resembles being in a relationship with someone who shows little genuine interest in your well-being. You stand isolated and unsupported, your branches reaching out for companionship that never materializes. In such relationships, your goals, projects, and challenges are met with indifference or mere token gestures of support. This person may not engage with your plans, offer a half-hearted good luck, or even express verbal support, but their actions, or lack thereof, are more telling. When it comes to providing tangible help, meaningful advice, or even a sympathetic ear during difficult times, their presence is notably absent. Any assistance they offer is often superficial, more about form than substance, and tends to disappear when you need it the most. The underlying reason for this lack of genuine support lies in their self-centered focus. Your successes or failures, your challenges, or your interests matter to them only to the extent that they affect their own goals. They view relationships through a transactional lens, where emotional investment is gauged based on potential personal benefits. This mindset creates an imbalance where one party consistently gives, whether through effort, care, or resources, while the other takes, often leaving the giver feeling unappreciated and overlooked. Recognizing this absence of genuine support is essential for understanding the nature of your relationship with such an individual. It requires an honest evaluation of the reciprocity in your interactions. Identifying and addressing this lack of support is vital to ensuring that you invest your time and energy in relationships that are nurturing, reciprocal, and genuinely supportive. Number 9. Constant competition. Imagine a chess game where every move is meticulously planned, not only to improve one's position, but also to strategically undermine the opponent. Similarly, a person who seeks to use you will often view your relationship as a competitive game. Every achievement, decision, or challenge of yours becomes an opportunity for them to assert their superiority. Whether it's overshadowing your professional successes, one-upping your personal accomplishments, or subtly undermining your choices, their actions are motivated by the need to stay ahead in this self-imposed rivalry. This ongoing competition can manifest in various ways. In a professional context, they may try to outshine you in meetings or claim credit for your ideas. In personal relationships, they could diminish your experiences or achievements, often contrasting them with their own to seem more significant. Even during casual conversations, there's a noticeable effort on their part to prove they are better, smarter, or more successful. The underlying cause of this behavior is a profound insecurity and a distorted view of self-worth, where their value is defined not by their own abilities, but by being superior to others. This mindset transforms every interaction into a zero-sum game, where for them to win, you must lose. It creates an environment where mutual growth is overshadowed by the desire to outdo one another. Interacting with someone who displays constant competition can be emotionally draining. It fosters a climate of continuous tension, where authentic collaboration or support is replaced by rivalry. Your achievements are not celebrated, but viewed as threats to their dominance, while your difficulties are not met with compassion but seen as chances for them to gain an advantage. Recognizing and understanding this pattern is essential. It aids in establishing boundaries and, if possible, shifting the relationship to a healthier, more collaborative dynamic. This involves acknowledging that the foundation of any constructive relationship is mutual respect and support, rather than an endless pursuit of superiority. Number 8. Absence in critical moments. This pattern of behavior is akin to a tree that offers shade only when the sun is gentle, but vanishes when storm clouds gather. During good times, when everything is smooth sailing, they are present, enjoying the shared light and possibly benefiting from the relationship. However, when challenges arise and support is most needed, their presence diminishes, leaving you to face the storm alone. Such individuals view relationships as a convenience, a means to an end, where their involvement is measured by personal gain. Their support is superficial, given only when it aligns with their interests or when they stand to benefit. In critical moments, whether facing a personal crisis, a professional setback, or emotional turmoil, their absence is clearly felt. It is during these times, when genuine support and empathy are crucial, that their true priorities and lack of commitment to the relationship become glaringly apparent. The impact of this behavior on the person who feels let down can be significant. It fosters a sense of betrayal and disillusionment, eroding the trust and reliability that one believed was fundamental to the relationship. It raises doubts about the very nature of the bond and often prompts a reevaluation of the individual's role and worth in your life. Recognizing this pattern is vital for understanding the dynamics of the relationship and the true intentions of the other person. It requires an acknowledgement that consistent support, both in times of joy and adversity, is essential for any meaningful relationship. Discovering that someone is absent during your critical moments serves as a key litmus test, helping you differentiate between those who are genuinely invested in your well-being and those who are involved in the relationship solely for their own benefit. Number 7. Lack of reciprocity. Picture a seesaw where one side is burdened with the weight of efforts, sacrifices, and commitments, while the other side remains light, lacking any equivalent contributions. This image perfectly illustrates a relationship that lacks reciprocity. In such connections, you consistently invest time, energy, and emotions, working to nurture and maintain the bond, while the other person's contributions are minimal, often token gestures or completely absent. This imbalance in effort can appear in various ways. You might always be the one initiating communication and making plans, while their responses are lukewarm or non-committal. You may provide continuous support and understanding, yet receive little in return when you need empathy or assistance. Even when sharing personal experiences and vulnerabilities, you may find yourself open and honest, while they remain guarded or uninterested. The underlying reasons for this lack of reciprocity are rooted in a self-centered approach to relationships. For the other person, the relationship serves as a convenience, a resource to utilize when necessary, without the intention of engaging in a meaningful exchange. Their involvement is calculated and dependent on personal benefit, often ignoring the needs and feelings of the other individual. This mindset is contrary to the foundation of healthy relationships, which flourish on mutual give and take, shared experiences, and a balanced investment of emotional effort. Recognizing the absence of reciprocity requires careful observation of the relationship's dynamics. It involves questioning whether the efforts to maintain and grow the connection are shared equally or disproportionately borne by you. It calls for an honest evaluation of whether the relationship feels fulfilling or draining, balanced or skewed. Number 6. Gossip and breach of trust. This behavior can be compared to a double-edged sword. On one side, gossiping about others can create a false sense of camaraderie and trust. It may appear as though they are confiding in you, drawing you into a seemingly exclusive circle of trust. However, the other side of the sword is much darker. It involves betraying your trust, turning the intimate or sensitive information you shared in confidence into gossip for others. This betrayal is not merely a violation of trust. It is a calculated tactic to undermine your sense of security and privacy within the relationship. Such behavior reflects a deliberate disregard for the sanctity of personal information and a blatant disrespect for the boundaries of confidentiality. The individual uses gossip as a means of social maneuvering, often positioning themselves as a hub of information. By spreading and distorting details, they aim to manipulate perceptions, forge alliances, or even create discord, all for their own advantage. This behavior indicates a utilitarian view of relationships, where people are treated as means to an end, and confidential information is viewed as currency to be traded. The consequences of these actions on the victim are complex. They cultivate an environment of mistrust and insecurity, undermining the very foundation of what could have been a supportive and trustworthy relationship. This can lead to social and emotional fallout, as the misuse of personal information can harm reputations, relationships, and self-esteem. Recognizing this pattern of behavior is essential for protecting oneself from such relational predators. It requires being attentive to how they discuss others in their absence and being cautious about what information is shared with them. Observing their respect for confidentiality and their tendency to engage in gossip can provide important insights into their character and intentions. Acknowledging and addressing this pattern is vital for preserving one's dignity and ensuring that personal boundaries are honored in all relationships. Number 5. Selective availability. You are available, but they are not. Selective availability creates a one-sided relationship, similar to a phone line where only one party is consistently reachable. In this dynamic, you're always ready to listen, lend a hand, or provide support. Your calendar, emotions, and resources are open books, easily accessible to them. In contrast, the other person's availability is as rare as a comet in the night sky, occasional, unpredictable, and always on their terms. This difference in availability is not simply about busy schedules or conflicting priorities. It is a deliberate choice, a strategic position taken by the other person. Their unavailability serves two purposes. It maintains a distance that suits them and places them in a position of control. By limiting their availability, they create a situation where you are often left wanting more, feeling grateful for any time or attention they choose to offer. In such relationships, your attempts to connect or engage are often met with excuses, delays, or neglect. Your messages may go unanswered, your calls unreturned, and your needs overlooked. When they do engage, it typically aligns with their own needs or agenda, turning the relationship into a one-way street where you are seen as a convenience rather than a valued partner. The emotional impact of this pattern can be considerable. It fosters feelings of inadequacy as you start to question the worth of your contributions and how the other person perceives you. It creates an underlying sense of frustration and resentment, stemming from the realization that your efforts and availability are not reciprocated. Recognizing the pattern of selective availability is essential. It requires stepping back and objectively evaluating the balance of effort and availability in the relationship. It underscores the understanding that healthy relationships rely on mutual respect, effort, and presence. Number 4. Making you feel guilty. Imagine a scenario where guilt functions like a puppeteer, pulling at the conscience of the kind-hearted and leading them down a path they might not choose willingly. The person manipulating you knows how to expertly pull these strings, tapping into your sense of responsibility, empathy, or fairness. They might present requests in such a way that saying no would make you appear uncaring or selfish. Alternatively, they may bring up past favors or incidents, suggesting an unspoken debt that you are now expected to repay. This tactic of inducing guilt is often subtle and insidious. It starts with small favors or concessions, gradually escalating to larger demands over time. Your boundaries are worn down, and your ability to refuse diminishes, leaving you feeling trapped in a cycle of guilt and compliance. The other person's needs and desires become the priority, while your own are sidelined or completely ignored. The effectiveness of this tactic lies in its ability to tap into a fundamental aspect of human nature, the desire to be seen as good, helpful, and caring. By making you feel guilty, the manipulator distorts these virtues, turning them into tools of control. You find yourself acting not out of genuine desire or mutual respect, but out of a sense of imposed obligation, often feeling resentful or drained. Recognizing when someone is using guilt to manipulate you is essential for preserving your personal boundaries and emotional well-being. It requires being aware of the emotional dynamics in your interactions, distinguishing between sincere requests for help and attempts to exploit your goodwill. It also takes the courage to question the motivations behind these requests and to assert your right to say no without feeling guilty. Identifying and addressing this manipulative tactic is vital for cultivating healthier relationships based on mutual respect, genuine care, and free choice rather than obligation and guilt. Number 3, lack of personal interest. Imagine a conversation as a two-way street, bustling with the flow of thoughts, experiences, and emotions going back and forth. In a healthy relationship, this street is vibrant with mutual interest and care. However, when dealing with someone who simply wants to use you, this street becomes a one-way lane. Their stories and experiences dominate the conversation, while your attempts to guide the dialogue toward your life often lead to detours or dead ends. This lack of personal interest shows up in various ways. Conversations with such individuals often resemble monologues masquerading as dialogues. They eagerly share the details of their daily lives, their challenges, and their triumphs, expecting your attention and empathy. Yet, when the focus shifts to you, their interest fades. They may respond with cursory nods, abruptly change the subject, or display visible disinterest or impatience. Your problems and experiences, no matter how important, seem to hardly register on their radar. This behavior is not simply a lack of social grace or conversational skills. It signals their priorities and intentions. By monopolizing the conversation and neglecting your stories, they create a dynamic where their needs, opinions, and life take precedence. It's a subtle form of egocentrism, where the relationship revolves around them, and your role is diminished to that of an audience or a sounding board. The effect of such interactions can be deeply discouraging. It can lead to feelings of insignificance and frustration, as the essential human need for recognition and understanding goes unmet. Over time, this imbalance can weaken the foundation of the relationship, making you feel more like an accessory to their life than an equal partner. Recognizing this lack of personal interest is essential. It requires awareness of the dynamics in your interactions and acknowledgement of the emotional impact that these one-sided conversations have on you. It calls for an assessment of whether the relationship is mutually enriching or draining. Identifying this imbalance opens the door to seeking more reciprocal and fulfilling relationships, where your stories and experiences are valued and respected as much as theirs. Number 2, superficial closeness. It can be compared to the shimmering surface of a lake, which reflects an image of depth and substance, but reveals its lack of true profundity upon closer examination. In such interactions, the person may imitate the behaviors of a close friend or committed partner. They might frequently communicate, share laughter, and engage in what appears to be intimate conversations. However, this illusion of closeness never evolves into genuine depth. This absence of true commitment is evident in various ways. You may observe that while they quickly enjoy the benefits of the relationship, they are just as quick to pull away when effort or sacrifice is needed from them. In times of need, their support tends to be weak or entirely absent. They may be present during joyful occasions, but noticeably missing during moments of struggle or vulnerability. Additionally, this superficial closeness often lacks the essential elements of trust and reliability that form the basis of authentic relationships. Plans may be made only to be casually disregarded, and promises may be given but rarely fulfilled. Their involvement in the relationship typically operates on their terms, driven by convenience and self-interest. The underlying motive for this behavior is often to maintain a network of contacts that can be called upon when necessary, without investing in the emotional effort that true relationships demand. It is a strategy of keeping people close enough for utility while avoiding the obligation of reciprocal commitment. Essentially, it serves as a form of emotional hedging, benefiting from closeness without risking genuine attachment or responsibility. Recognizing superficial closeness is vital for understanding the dynamics in a relationship. It involves observing interaction patterns and questioning whether the perceived intimacy is supported by genuine commitment and shared vulnerability. It's about identifying whether the relationship is emotionally balanced or disproportionately serves their needs. This type of relationship is marked by a facade of intimacy that lacks the foundation of genuine commitment and mutual growth. Identifying this pattern enables one to pursue and foster relationships that are grounded in authenticity, reciprocity, and true emotional depth. Number 1. Persistent lack of respect. This issue goes beyond occasional lapses in judgment or slips of the tongue during heated moments. It represents a continuous thread woven into the fabric of the relationship. It manifests in various forms, including belittling comments, dismissive attitudes, and outright disregard for your feelings and boundaries. This behavior can be subtle, akin to a series of small cuts, or overt, resembling a glaring wound to your dignity. Imagine a garden where respect acts as the nourishment that helps relationships thrive. Without it, you are left with a barren landscape where nothing healthy can grow. In such a scenario, every attempt at conversation or connection becomes fraught with thorns of contempt and disregard. The individual displaying this lack of respect uses it, either consciously or unconsciously, as a means to assert dominance or control within the relationship, diminishing the other person and maintaining an upper hand in a dynamic that should prioritize equality and mutual regard. This ongoing disrespect profoundly undermines the relationship's foundation. When conflicts arise, instead of being resolved with understanding and empathy, they turn into battlegrounds with no concern for emotional fallout. The natural ebb and flow of relationship dynamics is disrupted, making it difficult, if not impossible, to return to a state of normalcy and mutual respect. Recognizing and understanding this pattern of persistent disrespect is essential. It requires looking beyond isolated incidents to observe the broader behavioral trends. It involves acknowledging that respect is not just found in grand gestures. It is present in daily interactions, small acknowledgments, and the manner in which disagreements are handled. In conclusion, a persistent lack of respect in a relationship serves as a significant indicator of a person who views you not as an equal partner, but as a means to an end. This disregard for your feelings and dignity reveals a fundamentally unbalanced and unhealthy relationship. Identifying this trait is crucial for anyone who values their self-respect and seeks relationships grounded in mutual respect and equality. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you made it to the end, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. See you soon.